Which burned brighter, the town or the marshal's eyes? The muscles of his jaw clenched when he ground his teeth together as the rage within him reached boiling point. When he spoke, his voice held an edge that would shatter granite. "What the hell have you done?" Chapter 1. At birth, Serenity had been a cattle town, nestled in a wide valley with lush meadows, fast-flowing waterways fed from the high snow-capped peaks of the Absaroka mountain range, which overlooked its rutted Main Street. Initially, that's all it was, a one-street town enclosed by false-fronted shops. With the passage of time, it grew, and further streets were added. As the demand for a rail spur peaked, the railroad decided to build one into the valley so ranchers could ship out their cattle, making the need for a 2-week drive to the closest railhead defunct. Around the same time, the discovery of gold in the foothills drew miners in droves. Once it was established that the deposit was quite substantial, a mining company moved in and bought up the smaller claims. Soon after that, Ike Cordis came to town with 3 hired guns, his horsemen, as he liked to call them. They were cold-blooded killers who could draw and fire with speed and accuracy. Sam Beck came from Texas, Colt Bliven from Kansas, and California Wells all the way from Sacramento. Between them, they had a healthy kill tally of 22. Cordis quickly took over Serenity's saloon businesses. When he arrived in town, there were 4: the Cattleman's Saloon, the High Valley, the Ace High, and the Buffalo Wallow. He immediately renamed them more to his liking. They became Ike's Place, the Pink Garter, the Dead Dog, and the Royal Palace. He kept them open all night. They never closed their doors. Not when there was so much money to be made. With the influx of miners and rail workers came violence and death. Before long, not a day went by when there wasn't a shooting, a stabbing, or a fight in the middle of town. Citizens were accosted in the main street as they went about their business. The Serenity sheriff did his best to enforce the law, but died after being shot in the back whilst doing his rounds late one evening. And so, in the space of months, Serenity became a hell town, where people lived hard and died violent deaths. The sign was changed from Serenity to Hell, and people started to call Cordis the Devil, the King of Hell. 3 violent incidents occurred in one day that caused both Hell and the Devil to live up to their names. The first happened in the early morning hours. As a cold breeze whipped along the main street of Hell, the body of a man suspended from a rope began to sway. The noose around his thick neck had bitten deep into flesh, and after 4 hours beneath the Dead Dog Saloon sign, his face was distended and discolored, and his swollen tongue protruded from between slack lips. As the body swung with the wind, the sun kissed a shiny object on the man's chest and flashed briefly, though nobody was around to see it. The object was a nickel-plated badge, a sheriff's badge, and its owner had only been in office since the previous day. His death was meant to serve as a warning to the town council not to interfere in the devil's work. The warning, however, was not heeded, and the town council installed another man in his place as sheriff, a drifter who was offered $300 a month to wear the badge. Within an hour of being sworn in, he died in a blaze of gun smoke, shot down by Sam Beck, one of Cordis's 3 horsemen. 30 minutes later, the third violent event transpired that proved to be the beginning of the end for Hell. A thick blue-gray smoke hung in the still air of the dimly lit back room of the Royal Palace. Its source was a fat cigar jammed between the teeth of Ike Cordis. A thin spiral left the end of the stogie as he drew back deeply, increasing the amount.